Setting your brand compass. Now let's pull everything together and detail the process for refreshing or establishing a new brand from scratch and orient to a heading from which the brand may sail successfully. Step 1. Why? First, we need to identify a new position of emerging market value within a segment. Now, we need one that is unique, that you can own, and appeals to a customer base that possesses a profit potential that we find desirable. Then we must create a value proposition. This is the functional and emotional product benefits that we deliver, and a brand promise that we can deliver on. This is the guarantee that your brand delivers that others do not. This will determine why customers value and desire your product. Step 2. What we must identify are the attributes and benefits of the product, describing its physical attributes, its functional and emotional benefits. This will determine what the product means to the customer. Step 3. Where? At this point, we need to identify where the customer perceives our product within the customer mind map and the ownership of a single word, for example, FedEx equals overnight, that we can call the brand essence. This will determine the customer perceptions and our brand positioning. Step 4. Who? Now we need to identify the core user demographics and psychographics so that we know exactly what type of people will use this product and how they think. This will determine by whom the product will be used. Step 5. Set the brand compass. From the information devised from the above 4 steps, we now have the information required to set the brand compass by creating the brand USP, what is unique about our brand, and the brand mantra, which defines the brand boundaries, clarity, and vision. The brand USP and brand mantra comprise the brand compass, which is used as a guide in the creation of the balance of the marketing mix and as direction for all future marketing efforts for the brand. Okay, let's talk about how we engineer customer behavior. First, we'll talk about thin branding. Thin brands lack a heart, a culture, and a soul. Thin brands are not memorable. Customers may recognize a thin brand name and a logo, but are neither inspired nor motivated toward the purchase of this brand. We call this a thin brand. Aside from the fact that your grandmother had them in her cupboard, thin brands do not inspire customers, nor do they tell a memorable story or stand for a unique product attribute. Thin brands are easy to impersonate, and they remain at risk to competitive inroads. Deep branding. The heart of deep brands is filled with culture and soul. Deep brands are memorable. Poor Charlie Tuna never had the right stuff to be considered by StarKist. Deep brands may tell a story. Keebler cookies are made by elves. No doubt you can visualize little guys baking cookies in their tree right now. That's the power of a deep brand. We all love to hear a great story well told. But if you want the cookies actually made by elves, which millions of customers do, then you must buy Keebler brand products. Deep brands are very hard to impersonate. Once a deep brand story is burned into the customer's mind, it cannot be easily revised or replaced by another brand story. The super private label and the demise of thin brands. Retailers seeking higher profit margins began to knock off and impersonate thin brand packaging in the late 1990s with their upscale-looking private label products. This action has drastically eroded the market share of the thin brand universe. As super private label products with compelling graphics become indistinguishable from thin brands, customers' purchasing decisions become focused solely on price alone, and retailers will drop the thin brands in order to maximize their profit by creating their own private label brands. The tough economy after 2007 saw the demise of the thin brands and the rise of private label brands, and left the leading deep brands reeling and striving to survive a cost-conscious customer base. Your entire marketing and sales efforts come down to your brand's package and how well it does its job. This result is money for you or money for the competitor. Deep branding, the solution to profitable brand survival. The days of the thin brand are clearly numbered, if not over. To survive and maintain a healthy profit level, deep branding is your only viable path to success. Deep brands inspire and motivate customers, compelling them to choose a deep brand over another product. They do so by inviting customers to enter their little world to buy their brand's enchanting story. They sell with each customer in their brand culture, history, legend, and personality. Deep brands may have their own language, colloquialisms, stereotypes, and characters. When you blanket your product with deep brand culture, you inspire and motivate customers toward a purchase decision in your favor, and most importantly, you move products off the shelf and into the shopping cart. As a brand steward, your job is to direct the customer through the purchase decision at the retail shelf, selecting your product over the competition. Your brand culture can be fun, transcending, interesting, and enlightening. Above all else, it must stick to your customer with the bonding appeal of a newborn puppy. The echo effect. Customers must experience your message several times before they become aware of it. Still, more impressions are required for them to try, trust, and recommend your brand to others. It is critical that once your compass is set, your message remains constant. Tell them, and tell them again. Human comprehension occurs by identifying existing relationships and patterns in one of these three ways. 1. Apples to apples, based on a common measurement. 2. Benchmark, based on a comparison of historical or industry standards. AOB comparison to the customer's unique set of life experiences. So how do we create a deep brand? The most powerful way to gain customers for your brand is by immersing your brand with customer AOBs. The more your brand fits into the customer's lives and experiences, the greater your brand value. Pick and stick method. Over the years, I've developed a process for creating brands that possesses what I call the pick and stick method. It works extremely well and has proven itself time and time again. This is the magic that makes your customers select your brand over a competitor. Let's review one more time. The pick factor. A brand must first call attention to itself, what I call the pick factor, in order to be seen, heard, and considered. It must be picked up by the customer in their hand. On shelf, your brand must stun customers with the visual thunder of your package so that they stop dead in their tracks like a deer in headlights, ready to absorb your brand message. Provide an out-of-the-box experience for your brand, where your brand jolts the category, shouting uniqueness. If you're not perceived as different, you will not be noticed. If you do a successful job in your brand creation with the pick factor, your package will gain and hold customer attention and interest, come off the shelf, and move into the customer's hand for viewing and further consideration. Packaging with a low pick factor is either not seen or not selected. Pick factors in action. Call attention to your brand in order to be selected by the customer. You must motivate and compel them to see and select your product, moving it off the shelf and into their hands. The stick factor. Secondly, a brand must also compel customers toward a personal bonding process in order to be selected, what we call the stick factor. The brand stick factor motivates and compels customers to move your product from their hands into the shopping carts. Packaging with a low stick factor is returned to the shelf. Speak from the voice of the brand in the language, culture, and personality of the brand. The good news is that once a product moves from the shelf to the customer's hands, the odds are that the product will end up in the cart. Once a customer picks up a product from the shelf, they have some level of purchase commitment. Returning a product to the shelf means that their initial impulse was wrong. The stick factor is all about the customer confirmation process and assuring that initial interest is satisfied. At this point, customers are saying, okay, give me just one more good reason that I should buy this product to reassure me that there is enough value here to warrant my money. Deliver this, and people will reward you with a sale. Let's talk about some stick factors in action. Value dominates. Value is usually the dominant stick factor in most purchasing decisions. However, there are additional stick factor methods that the creative team may utilize to help stick brands to customers. Creative execution. The creative execution phase visualizes your brand. It brings the essence of your brand to life in a memorable manner, reflecting the brand DNA with visual impact. The creative execution is comprised of 4 basic elements: message, impact, style, and priority. Let's break this down one at a time. The first one, message communication. Your brand must convey and communicate your message in a clear, understandable, and meaningful manner, receptive to and in the language of the customer. The message objective may be to persuade, inform, guide, dramatize, educate, promote, encourage, inspire, entertain, amuse, direct, motivate, or whatever for the customer. But action is required. Message communication is concerned with elements such as meaning, concept, components, purpose, vision, information, objective, and purpose. Number 2, impact. To stand out from the competitive set, your brand must possess visual and logical benefit impact to be recognized and inspire the customer's passion and hold the customer's desire. Visual impact is concerned with the visual elements such as composition, simplification, structure, contrast, positioning, orientation, scale, quantity, depth, perspective, color, value, shape, balance, tension, space, readability, legibility, grouping, and placement division. If you'd like to know more about this, please stop over and see some of our aesthetic videos. Logical impact is concerned with logical elements such as trust, bonding, aligned AOBs, inspiration, entertainment, solving aligned needs, ego, and image. Harnessing customer impact ways to ensure that the customers turn an impact into a sale. Again, the pick factor. It's responsible for moving your product off the shelf into the customer's hands. The pick factor is concerned with elements such as attention, attractions, visual thunder, providing a hook, unexpected elements, and/or uniqueness. And then to stick it, the stick factor is responsible for bonding with the customer and making the sale by moving your product from the customer's hands into the shopping cart. The stick factor is concerned with elements such as establishing trust, extolling benefits, bonding, and entertaining. 3, style and personality. The creative style in which your brand is executed should reflect the essence of your brand. It must embrace the specific language and cultural attributes of your target customer. Style is concerned with elements such as voice, tonality, expression, personality, emotion, cultural nuances, colloquialisms, and grammar, typography, trend, and fashion. Priority of message is concerned with elements such as hierarchy, order, systemization, and organization. Your brand's messages should be communicated in a predetermined hierarchy of importance, relevant, and prioritized to meet the customer's desire. This ensures that your message delivers what you want it to say in the order you want it to be said. Next up, 10 parameters of effectiveness.